Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning as I talk to you about my journey towards recovering from COVID. So I am totally winging it for most of it this morning because I just want to speak from my heart and tell you what's on my heart. So first of all, I would like to tell you that you are stronger than you think. And I believe that there's a wonderful thread running through us all. And I call that thread God. He's threading through me. He's threading through you. And that gives us this great inner power. And if we tap into it, we can get through anything. And I think that's your mindset is very important in this. And you have to prepare yourself for that chance that you might have to contract the virus. So first of all, I would like to say, I think and remember, I'm not a medical doctor, and I definitely don't plan to generalize this morning. I'm talking from my own experience, and I'm talking from other people that I know who are recovering and seeing the similarity between what my experience is and their experience. But I remember when COVID, when I first heard about COVID, there was a video clip of a lady in a hospital, and they said that this is actually a typical case of COVID, and she was in ICU and all of that. And my mind just told me, but how is this possible? If you look at the mortality rate, you look at the number of recoveries, how can you call this a typical case? And but I mean, what do I know? I wasn't in Italy when things were really bad there, and so yes, but that's a thought that I did actually have. Sorry, I just want to quickly check something on my camera. Okay, so I believe that you are looking at a typical case. If you follow worldometers, and I'm not going to go into the debate about the stats there, but if you look at worldometers, your chance of recovering is very good. Last night I was actually just looking at the stats. Currently in the world there is 6,029,000 blah 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 cases. So let's make it did I say 1,000? 6 million active cases, and of which 64,653, that's 1%, is serious or critical. Then if you look at the closed cases, 94% of the people that got the virus is fine. And there were only 6% deaths. And in that 6% deaths, like you all know, you have people with pre-existing conditions. And then there's also a small fraction of that of people who didn't know, or that were perfectly fine, and they didn't make it. But the question is, what is your decision beforehand should you get the virus? Do you plan to focus on the 6% of people that passed, or is your focus on the chances of being in the 94% bracket of people that were actually fine. People that's got it mildly, I think most of it, I mean, if all these people were in hospital, there would really, really not be space. I know the hospitals are full, but I think if you look at the stats, it's evident that a lot of people are actually recovering at home. So I think that is so important. And from the beginning, I think my mindset was just, I was just focusing on the positive. I was focusing on what are the chances that you are in the 94% bracket, okay? So that's where my focus was. So if you get it, chances are really actually that you will be fine, that you won't have to go to hospital. I wasn't in hospital, okay? I was just recovering at home. So I'm going to talk a bit now about what I've learned, things that I didn't know, because it's so vague and you don't hear people talking about their journey, and you hear that people are scared to speak up about it. I'm really not scared. That's the dry cough, if you're wondering about that. So, first of all, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what happened in my life the past 6 weeks. And it was very tough. It was extremely tough. I've been pushed beyond my bodily abilities to cope with everything. About 6 weeks ago, I realized that my dad is really gravely ill, and that it was the start of a journey towards saying goodbye to him. And I did not plan to cry. And it was an insane, tough time. He suffered from heart failure. And he passed away a week ago, today a week ago. And it's because of this very crazy time that I found myself in, because I was very involved. I just didn't have energy to talk on Facebook. And I want to be real on Facebook. And I just didn't have the energy to go live. So that's why I've been quiet. And the day that he passed, today a week ago, he was rushed to hospital the Monday, the previous day. And I was thankful that I could spend all that time with him this last while. And last Tuesday he tested positive in hospital for COVID. And he was also diabetic. And to a great extent, I was glad that that was the final nail in the coffin, because to see him suffer from the heart failure was brutal. And we don't know who got it first. We suspect that he might have brought it back home the previous time he was in hospital, but we'll never know. We need to test it positive last week, Tuesday. I was actually starting to think, about symptoms that I thought, yes, might I be positive. But when he tested positive, I thought I had to really have myself tested. Having said that, I've had the virus now really for about 2 weeks. I'm actually close to not being infectious anymore. But since I started suspecting that I might have it, I stayed away from people. Okay, and I think that is our duty, to also do it for people around us. So I tested on Wednesday, and on Thursday I got my results that I was positive. And like I said, this was a crazy time. I didn't have time to rest. I wake up many mornings and just say, God, I'm so grateful that my body took this virus so well because of the immense strain and the intensity while looking after my father. Some days I didn't even eat while I had the virus, the first week of the virus. Sometimes I would go through the day with a pear and a couple of glasses of water that I had, because there was just no time to stop with everything that was happening. And I can for sure tell you this, that the virus doesn't like stress. The first time I got a bit of a fright was last Thursday, where I realized I have to look more carefully after myself. So the first symptom that I had, I'll just talk a bit about my my symptoms. About 2 weeks ago, I went for a run, and I didn't get 200. I think I ran for about 200 meters, and I was really just suddenly like so much out of breath. Just hang on one sec, dry cough. And that's the first time that I thought, what is happening here? I'm not unfit, and so that was weird. And then from there, I started to have these varying symptoms that just came and they went, and they weren't consistent the whole time. Thank you guys for watching. So what I've heard, and I think that's a confusing part about it, we hear these bits and pieces, and this person say what they say when you have to be tested. So it seems like if you've got at least 3 of the symptoms, I heard that unless your fever is above 38, they're not going to test you. I promise you, there was only one morning where my fever was 38.1. And the rest of the time it was normal. It was like 36, it was 37. And then other symptoms was the dry cough, like you can hear. That's quite consistent. It's been consistent throughout my recovery time. I had muscle pains for 2 days. And then there was one brief moment that it came back. I really had all sorts of aches and pains at random places. It was actually quite funny. So a couple of days ago, I was sitting on the couch, and suddenly it's like, my tailbone, what is this, And then it's gone. And this is the thing, what I've gathered from my visit to the doctor, and I think things that are indicative of that you might actually have the virus is that your symptoms come and go the whole time. It's not like with flu. Well, this is how my body experiences flu, that you start with muscle pain or body ache, and then it goes away, and you go through these stages. But with COVID, it seems, and like I said, I'm just talking about my own experience with it, and also hearing about other people, is that the symptoms really come and go the whole time. The one moment, like I said, my coccyx was like sore, and then it's gone. And then I got to bed that evening, and suddenly my toes were aching. It's like, what the hell, And I think the one thing that happened to me that I was a bit concerned about last Thursday was actually I had this pain here, and when I was breathing, I could actually feel it. It was like almost like this clot feeling here. And but then that disappeared. I had a pounding headache one day, and then it was gone. Something that I also picked up from my visit to the doctor is a symptom that they're looking for at the moment is loss of taste and smell. I've had that from the beginning, but in my case, when I've got a cold, when I've got a flu, I by default can't taste and smell. And this is also the one a symptom that I've had consistently. I can't taste and I can't smell. I'm drinking water, but whether this is water or coffee, I wouldn't be able to tell. Okay, so that seems, and again, I'm not sure if the doctor, if this is a specific symptom of the South African population, and if it's a symptom that they're starting to pick up on more throughout the world. Shortness of breath, yes. Like I said, I had that instance when I was running. Of course, I stopped exercising there, and but yeah, the shortness of breath has been constant for me most of the time as well. But you can hear I'm a bit short of breath as I'm talking here. But that's it. It's almost like when you have bronchitis, okay? And I believe most people would be like this, okay? Remember, focus on the 94% of the people that make it, and make that decision beforehand that you are going to be. If you ever get it, you are going to be part of that percentage. Okay, so then there was also one day that I had high blood pressure, but I don't know, it could have been from all the stress that I took on me, you know, with my dad's illness and you know, the funeral arrangements. I can't tell if that is actually part of COVID. And one thing that I picked up and also someone else that I know is that I don't know actually how to describe this, but it's almost like a, wait, I worded it here, in and out zoom of visual perception. Wait. So it's literally like my vision went like this, you know, like everything is moving. So yes, and when I spoke to someone else that also has got it, he said that he also experienced that, and that's not on the list of common symptoms. Another thing that that I don't know, they don't say anything about a runny nose in any of the symptoms that I've read, and I haven't had a runny nose. So this is completely different from a normal cold or flu. And like I say, you know, I for most of the time I actually felt quite okay, except for the shortness of breath, which is more like a bronchitis for me. And and now I lost what I wanted to say. Maybe I'll get back to that. And so yeah. So I didn't have a runny nose, and for most of it I felt much better than I would when I have a cold or a flu. I wasn't tired at all, so that is a very common symptom. I wasn't tired at all. I didn't have a sore throat, and yes, that's basically what I experienced, what I can remember. So I think the main thing is, you know, those symptoms that come and go the whole time. That's different from your normal cold or flu. Okay, well, at least for me. Okay, so now I'm going to just tell you what to do if you think you've got COVID, because I had to go and Google it. I didn't know what to do. You know, it's so weird. We really don't know. So I'm just going to tell you what to do. You phone your GP and you tell them, you know, what's going on. So like I said, I think the thing that was indicative for the GP was my varying symptoms and the loss of taste and smell. And then you visit them, and they will determine if they think, you know, you're ready to actually take the test, because you can be asymptomatic, and in that case, you know, if you just have one symptom, for example, and you have yourself tested, chances are that you're going to test negative. Okay, so that's why they want to see a couple of, you have to have a couple of symptoms to know that it's actually worthwhile testing. And yeah, then they actually sent you to one of the pathologists. So you know, Vermaak and Vennote or Empath or whatever. And it's this little tube. It looks like a little wire, and they push it up your nose. It's weird. It's very weird. Okay, you want to sneeze after that. And then they send it in, and if you have symptoms, then they escalate your test a little bit more. So I literally had my results in 18 hours. And as you can see, my dog is here. She's visiting this morning. Okay, and the cost and how it works. So if you go to, and I'm talking now in South Africa, if you go to any of the public hospitals, the testing would be free. And if you go to a private practice, this is how it works. It was quite interesting for me. I only have a hospital plan, and I actually thought that I had to pay for the test. The test cost 850 rand, and then it's of course the doctor's consultation fee. But it seems like most funds, if you have a hospital plan, actually have a risk benefit which covers COVID. So you actually don't pay for the test in any way. Okay, so what I did for recovery, just hang on one sec. A couple of weeks ago, I actually posted this on my Coach Me to Grow page. I saw a video clip of a doctor in Auckland, New Zealand, and I really liked her approach. You can just scroll down and get to that video clip. She's got a very holistic approach, and she also talks about the importance of a solid mindset. You know, if you're going to think you're going to die, you know, you're increasing your chances of that. So you have to stay positive. You have to focus on what are the chances that I will be fine. 94%, really, at least 94%, if not higher. Okay, so I'm just summarizing a few things here what she said, which I found really helpful, and that is to take your vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and then cough syrup. That's also important. And then she also gave a bunch of breathing exercises which are really good. You can actually feel how the moisture comes, you know, surfaces from your lungs. So I think that is very important to do those exercises. So please, guys, very important, and steam with Vicks. It's horrible. You feel like dying initially, but then as you settle into it, it gets better. Okay, and then like I said, it's been very tough these couple of weeks. I didn't even have proper time to meditate. It was just crazy, and it is what it is. But I remained mindful and in the moment. Okay, that is so important, that you just stay in the moment. You can't control the future. Okay, so just focus on where you are currently. So what I did actually with the breathing exercises, the steaming, that became my meditations, and and that was beautiful for me. So do what you can, you know, do what you can. Be gentle on yourself as far as possible. And I've mentioned this earlier. Stress doesn't work well with COVID, and truly by the grace of God, I got through this difficult time having COVID, despite everything that I had to deal with surrounding my dad's situation. Okay, and then maybe just something about the, you know, for how long you've got the virus, how long you can infect people. And I actually got this from my lab results. I wanted to print it for you guys that you can actually see it's real, but I just copied and pasted this part from the lab results. Okay, so this is real. This is not just somebody that said something on Facebook of how it works. Okay, so it says clinical guidelines. If the patient is well enough to remain at home, which I believe most people are, he or she need to self-isolate for 14 days. If the patient requires admission to hospital, they need to remain in isolation for 14 days after clinical stability is reached. Okay, so you admitted to hospital, and only when you become stable, from there they start counting the 14 days. And that's what the doctor also told me. He said that those people that get admitted, they might be infectious, a bit longer than people like me that didn't have to be admitted to hospital. And and so then you're in isolation for 14 days. And so I'm actually at the end of this. Chances are that I can't infect you anymore. And that's after 14 days. So very interesting here is, I see, oh yeah, this is the part I wanted to read to you guys. 14 days is sufficient to ensure that the patient is no longer shedding infectious virus particles. Okay, so after 14 days you're not shedding that unless you've been more of a critical case. Many patients still shed viral RNA for prolonged periods of time, but this has not been shown to be infectious virus. Okay, and this is also what the doctor told me after you've had it. You're not retesting. He said I will be positive for a couple of weeks after those 14 days. So this is exactly what this part says, many patients still shed viral RNA for prolonged periods of time, but this has not been shown to be infectious virus. Okay, so you can rest assured, you will be fine when you get in contact with someone after 14 days, unless the doctor said extended that period a bit. So you don't need to be scared of getting in contact with people like me. It's quite interesting how all of a sudden people want to come and visit us because they know that we are fine. We can't give it to them at the moment. Okay, so last thing that I will just share with you guys before I end off, how to support a person with COVID. Guys, I'm completely blank. I don't know, go and read it up on Google. This is just things that I thought, from my own experience. Don't call them and make them talk forever. You don't have enough breath, it's just strenuous. And when I say you don't have enough breath, you can hear that, I'm battling slightly, with that. Like I said, it's more like bronchitis. Okay, so you just can't talk for too long. And because you're in quarantine, I can't go out to the shop and buy things, so it might be a good idea to ask somebody if you can just drop off some food or whatever they need, toilet paper. And don't ask them where they got it. I really don't know. If it wasn't my dad that brought it from the hospital, it might have been me that brought it into our household. I don't know. I've been very mindful of wearing my mask, of not touching my face, of sanitizing. I honestly think the virus is more airborne than we think. Okay, so it's a guess where you got it. So yes, I will see how it goes. Like I explained, I've been through a difficult time, and I need to rest. I think I'm only going to get a time to rest now. And so if you don't see me on Facebook doing live videos, it's just that I need to look after myself right now. And yeah, I trust this was helpful for you. You're welcome to ask questions. I just want to see. Somebody said here in France, the patients could also not taste and smell. So it seems like it's general. Last night when I was looking at some of the symptoms, I saw it's a less common symptom. So I think they've actually started to realize maybe in the world that there's a common trend that the loss of taste and smell is more common. Okay, so you're welcome to post any questions. I will gladly answer them for you. And I'm just grateful to have been able to share this with you. And I hope it helps you to just be a bit more clear on what to look for should you think that you have it. Okay, guys, have an awesome day. And we will see one another again. Bye.